Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Before we start breaking down the footage and getting into the weeds today, take a quick second and subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter.
Yeah, it's honestly the absolute best way to make sure you never miss out on these high-level updates.
Exactly. So moving right into it, we are looking at the latest news out of the Springboks camp today, specifically regarding their incredibly talented young utility back, Ethan Hooker.
Such a great player.
He really is. And our mission today is to unpack this recent injury he sustained, try to understand the recovery timeline, and, examine the official reactions to the on-field incident.
Right, because there's been a ton of chatter about it.
Oh, a ton. But I want to set a really positive tone here right out of the gate. Injuries are incredibly tough, but the passion for the game and the resilience of these players, that is what makes rugby so compelling.
Absolutely. The physical stakes are huge, yeah.
Yeah.
But the mental toughness is unmatched.
Exactly. So let's get right into the reality of what happened, just to paint the picture for you. This all stems from the weekend clash against the Ospreys.
Right.
Ethan Hooker breaks the line. He's in the very act of dotting down for a try, and he's in that split-second, highly vulnerable horizontal position.
Yeah, and in that fraction of a second, your situational awareness just drops to basically zero. You're entirely focused on the grass.
Right, you're totally defenseless, and arriving right into that window is Ospreys winger Luke Morgan, who comes down and lands directly on Hooker's shoulder.
It was a massive collision.
Just a huge impact right on the whitewash. And that brings some pretty immediate medical realities. We got an update from Coach Peterson ahead of the Edinburgh game, and it's serious.
Yeah, they didn't waste any time.
No, Hooker flew straight home from the tour. He already saw a surgeon, and he's actually scheduled for an operation this week.
Wow. Putting a player on a plane home immediately like that, it's the clearest indicator of how they're grading the trauma. It shifts from, let's ice it and see, to we need specialized surgical intervention right now.
Exactly. Which brings us to the timeline, and this is where it gets tough. The expectation right now is that he's going to be out for at least 2 to 3 months.
Man, that is a heavy blow.
It is, because he's in a real race against time. He'll likely miss the start of the Springboks test season in July.
And for a young utility back, those July tests are the ultimate proving ground. So the timing is just brutal. But, he has to focus on the eventual recovery now.
Yeah, he really does. And the frustrating part for fans is the lack of a definitive return date. Peterson was very careful not to lock in a specific week.
Because they just don't know yet.
Right. It's exactly like taking a car to the mechanic. They can run the diagnostic codes, they can listen to the engine, and give you an educated guess.
It's a really good analogy.
Yeah, because a mechanic will always tell you, I won't know exactly what is broken until I pop the hood. And Peterson basically said the same thing. They won't know until they literally open up the shoulder and look inside.
Exactly. Because MRI scans are great, but they're just reading shadows, When a surgeon actually opens up that joint, they see the functional reality of the tissue.
So that 2 to 3 months is really just a baseline.
Yeah, it could be a cleaner fix, or they might find micro tears they missed. The actual roadmap depends on what the surgeon finds. But he's young, he's receiving world-class care, so his recovery potential is huge.
Totally. So we naturally have to pivot from the physical injury to the surrounding discussion about the tackle itself.
Right, the citing commission and all of that.
Yeah, because everyone wanted to know how the officials handled it. But hey, real quick, if you're getting value out of this deep dive, take a second and subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter.
Yeah, your support lets us keep doing these deep tactical breakdowns.
It really does. Okay, so the official ruling. Despite all the slow-motion replays and headlines, the citing officer determined this incident did not meet the threshold for a red or yellow card.
They deemed it a rugby incident.
They did. And I know some people are surprised. A player is crushed in a defenseless position, and they just say, play on.
Well, you have to look at the citing criteria. They aren't just looking at the severity of the injury, right? They're looking at the mechanism and the intent.
Right. Was there malice?
Exactly. Was it a reckless launch with a tucked arm? Or was it a legitimate attempt to play the ball and prevent the grounding?
And they clearly felt Morgan was making a legitimate attempt.
Yeah, it was just the unfortunate reality of two bodies occupying the exact same space at the same millisecond.
Which perfectly sets up the reaction from Ospreys boss Mark Jones. He came out fiercely defending Morgan.
He really went to bat for his player.
He did. He stated definitively that there was zero malice. He said Morgan was simply doing his absolute utmost And following instructions to never give up until the ball is grounded.
And honestly, that is the foundational reality of goal line defense.
Yeah.
You cannot coach a player to hesitate or pull out of a collision there. If you do, you hemorrhage points. The mandate is to disrupt the grounding by any legal means necessary.
Exactly. And Jones actually went on the offensive a bit. He called it a disgrace to make on-field events personal or to target sportsmen over these kinds of collisions.
Which I think is a highly necessary pushback against the toxic side of social media replays.
Yeah, I totally agree. But what I really loved was his sportsmanship. He firmly defended Morgan, but he also highly praised Hooker.
Yeah, he called him a top-quality player.
He did, a top-quality and great player. And he expressed a lot of hope that Hooker wouldn't be sidelined for too long.
And that right there is the fine, difficult line in professional rugby. You demand absolute commitment at the try line, but you hold clear respect for your opponent.
Right. The fierce competition doesn't mean there's animosity.
Not at all. Empathy for the injury and defense of the action can exist at the same time.
I love that framing. So we've broken down the medical reality, the timeline, the ruling, and Jones's defense. Now we want to turn it over to you.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Definitely. Do you agree with the citing officer that it was just a rugby incident? What do you think about Mark Jones's defense? Jump in and share your perspective.
And as you think about that, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. As professional rugby just gets faster and the margins for error get smaller, how do we balance things? How do players and fans balance the demand for absolute, unrelenting commitment at the try line with the inherent physical risks of the game?
Man, that is the big question for the sport moving forward. Well, please, one last time, subscribe to the Rugby Obsession channel and newsletter so you don't miss out.
Always a pleasure breaking this stuff down.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.